But before that, I think there's something that God reveals to Abraham, which is quite amazing. And remember, I said the whole point of the redemption not redemption, the covenant with God and Abraham and his descendants is for the redemption of the world. Okay, it's not always, Israel's not better than anyone else. He just had to choose someone to do it. But through Israel, he redeems the whole world. I think he gave Abraham an insight into that. And I think it's very clear in the Bible as long as you look at it through biblical perspectives. And if you guys are willing, I'd like to share that with you, because it kind of goes with Genesis 15. That okay?
Yeah.
And then if you want to sleep, you can sleep. If you don't, I'll keep talking. Well, first, the fence, because we're going to veer away from it soonish. So this is our longest fence, our longest border in the state of Israel. It goes from north all the way down south, although the fence does disappear at a certain point, but that doesn't really matter. The way it works is the political border is the river itself. So once you cross over to this side of the river, you're technically in Israel. But from the river up to that first fence is no man's land, meaning the soldiers are looking at it, and that's what you kind of have to run through in order to make it to Israel. If you survive all the snipers and all that, just kidding, no snipers. Well, maybe there are, maybe there aren't. You'll have to find out. If you survive that, you make it to a fence. You can see that fence a little bit further away. And this is the entrance to a minefield. There's a yellow sign saying, like the ones we saw in the Golan Heights, danger mines. And I had a driver once, he was actually Palestinian, and he made a joke. He says, in Hebrew and English, it says danger mines. In Arabic, it says picnic area. Like, that's not funny. Mean, okay. He didn't like Jordanians, although most Jordanians are Palestinian. But anyway, so you run over, you jump over the fence, and you're in the minefield. If somehow, by miracle, you survive the minefield, you get to another fence. You jump over that fence, and then you're standing in front of a tall fence. That's the closest one that we have here. That's an electric fence. Not the kind that gives you a shock, but the kind that sends a signal to the military base. And then within a couple minutes, you'll have the full force of the Israeli military bearing down upon you. I did this once. Well, no, I didn't touch it. I'll tell you that story afterwards. But so if you touch that, it sends a signal, and then you have this road. You see the road there? It's a dirt road, paved road, dirt road. Every now and then you have a military vehicle. It's about every 15-20 minutes. Vehicle drives up and down this road. You have one driver and a tracker, and then a guy with a gun in the back. The tracker is staring staring at the dirt, and he's looking for any disturbances in the dirt. If there's a disturbance, he stops the car and he does his thing. And depending on what he decides, they either call the military, put them on alert, or keep on driving. Behind the vehicle is a rake. This rake is raking both sides of the dirt. So every 15 or however long they drive here, it's re-raking the ground. So if there was a disturbance and he says there wasn't anything important, they keep driving and that disturbance is now gone. So when the next vehicle comes, there should be nothing there. Okay? So that's the way it works. Now we have tons of observation posts everywhere. We told you helicopters fly here. The Air Force is always flying here. So there are always eyes on this border, even though they are our best ally in the Middle East. Okay? Tell you a quick story and then I'll go to Genesis. When I was 19, I was 20, I was living in the States. I was in college and I came back for Passover to visit my parents, and all my friends were in the military, and they were all, well, two of them were officers, so they got the weekend off, the week off for Passover, and all my other friends had the weekend off, so we decided to go up and camp out at the Sea of Galilee, and then go hiking in the Golan Heights in the morning. Basically, we couldn't leave Jerusalem. We were all from Jerusalem. We couldn't leave until the last one made it back from the military base, said hi to his parents, threw his clothes in the wash, and then got in the car. So it was about 12:30 by the time he showed up, and we started just taking off from Jerusalem up to the shore to meet up with the rest of our friends who had been there all day. And my friend had a white sedan car. I can't remember what kind it was, but he was going like 150 kilometers an hour on this road, just flying. And we got to the area where that fence was just that we just passed, and there was a military vehicle driving along the fence. And my brother had a camcorder, and back then the camcorders had those red dots to tell you when they were recording. And we were just messing around in the car, and he was filming my friend who was sitting in the passenger seat. We were in the back. And the soldiers, I don't know what they saw, but my brother was filming in that direction, and suddenly this vehicle that was going the other direction stopped, turned around, and floored it, started chasing us. And it was a Humvee, and then they jumped the curb and came on the road. And, you know, my friend, who's actually an officer in the military, he goes, "That's pretty funny. Watch this," and just floors it. And those things are heavily armored. I'm like, first off, you're an officer, don't ever try to outrun the military. Second off, what? We're already going 150, so now this thing is like taking off. And, you know, he's looking in the rearview mirror just laughing, and we're looking back like, these guys have no chance to catching up. And then they just stopped, disappeared. And we're like, oh, that was way too easy. And then about 30 seconds up the road, my friend who's driving looks ahead of him, and there's a military blockade. I'm talking armored vehicles, 50 cal machine guns on top, all pointed at us. As soon as we came into the vicinity of them, you see all these soldiers spewing out of the back of the armored carrier vehicle, all pointing guns at us. So, of course, we're terrified. Slam on the brakes. And as soon as we come to a complete stop, that vehicle that we thought we had outrun is now blocked us in from behind. And they come running out of the vehicle. At this point, all those soldiers came darting up to the vehicle, running, yelling at us in Arabic. Now, one of my friends, his parents are from Morocco, and the spoken language at home is Arabic, so he understands what they're saying. Now, this is the Israeli military, and everyone else is yelling in Hebrew, "We're Israelis!" and they're all holding their military IDs. And the guy comes over and goes, "Wait, you guys are Israeli?" And he goes like, "Yes, here's my military ID." And he looks at the guy's shoulder and sees his rank. He goes, "Actually, I outrank you." And he opens the car and gets out like he's going to tell him what to do. And the guy slams the door in his face and says, "Get in the car." And he goes, What are you guys thinking? You tried to outrun a military vehicle on the border." He goes, "Well, I didn't know they were chasing us." Whoops. Yeah, all right. So they pull us all out of the vehicle, and they're like, "Well, number one, don't ever try to outrun a military vehicle." He goes, "We had orders to shoot. We just decided not to. We said if you stop the car, we won't shoot. If you keep coming, we'll shoot." So we all could have died, but he stopped the car, and then the commanding officer comes over and he goes, "Give me your military ID," to the officer, and pulls him aside. And then about 2 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, "Wow." He goes, "You guys got to listen to this. The military, the reason why that car chased us, we didn't do anything wrong, but the reason why that car chased us, well, except for speeding, but they're not police, they chased us because they had intelligence saying 4 guys will try and sneak over the border today and get into a white sedan that's been spotted going north and south along this highway for a couple hours now. And last time they saw him, there was one guy in the car, and they thought we were that same car filled with 4 people now. So they thought we were all terrorists. So they had permission to shoot. So that's how well they're organized here. So it doesn't look too organized, you know, when you say, "Oh, it's a long fence, dirt road." Not very good, right? No, they're always watching. Okay, well, so let's just say I've never done anything like that since. No, I think there's no fence. That was my story of the fence. I was close to the fence. Okay, so Genesis chapter 15 is where we began this conversation, but I told